Did you see my last side-by-side video I posted?
You know what? I was actually going to ask you about that. Did you do like Velocidrone second, fly in real life first, and then try to match it up, or was that just like
Uh,
totally coincidental?
I did Velocidrone after flying it.
But I'm saying like you like crashed at the exact same time.
Oh, I did that on purpose.
That's what I
Yeah,
was saying. I was like, he must have done this on purpose and like tried to do it at the same time. Like, there's no way this would be way too perfect.
yeah. But like, I was actually flying faster in real life for the first time.
You started faster in real life.
No, I was like, I felt like I was faster in real life on this track.
That's interesting. Did you scale it up in Velocidrone, or was it the same scale too?
I just kind of built it off of feel. I didn't like measure anything.
All right, that probably works. All right. YouTube is complaining for some reason. Facebook is happy. Let's do this. Oh, you know what? I meant to do this too.
Those 2100 kV motors, insane.
Sorry, what was that?
Oh, that video is with those new 2150 kV T motors on 6S.
Well, that's what you're running.
Yeah.
Dude, I didn't like that as much when I was running 2150. Like it
With the
felt
throttle
good,
limit,
but I did 90%.
yeah, I was doing 80%, and I was still getting like a minute and 10-second flight time.
Yeah, exactly. I was getting about a minute, yeah, 90%. All right, let's just do this. Yeah, let's do that. Maybe you figured out how to make this stuff easier. I don't know. You go
Oh,
live and you go and share these things and yeah, we'll just do that. All right. We'll call that good. And then how do I do this? Yeah. I don't know. We'll just go.
oh, we're live.
Yep, and streaming status says good on YouTube now, so I think we should be good. We should be on YouTube. Yep, so we currently have 9 people on YouTube, and we currently have a few more on Facebook. So 2 more on Facebook, so 11
NorCal,
people.
what's up?
Man, where are you seeing the comments?
On the stream.
Oh, there. Oh, I see. It's like delayed
Jeff
on the stream for me.
Exner,
Got it.
RC Addict. Oh,
Very
he's been playing
cool.
some X Class lately. I've been watching.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see his little like line of sight freestyle video he was doing. Well, maybe not. All right. Well, I guess we got about 11 people on here. Why don't we go ahead and get this thing started? So Colby Curtola, also known as SFPV, thank you very much for joining me today on the Drone Racing Show.
Yep, thanks for having me.
All right, no problem. So for those people out there, maybe the few of them who don't know who you are, would you mind giving me kind of like the 2-minute high level overview of who you are and how you found FPV and how you got into FPV?
Sure. So I started flying in 2015. If you go on my YouTube, I actually have videos from 2015, which are pretty funny to watch. But I started flying. I got a ZMR 250 like cloner. That was like kind of the only quad available back in the day. Either you had a blackout or you bought the ZMR 250, which was a clone of blackout, or you bought a clone of the clone. So that's what I had. So we started going out flying out at Golden Gate Park back before like drones were all banned, because no one really knew what they were. So we could actually fly in Golden Gate Park in San Francisco. Before that, like I didn't really have much RC experience. I had like RC cars when I was a kid, but like nothing serious. So it's kind of like my first hobby really that I got into. I was like a big gamer before I got into drone racing, and then kind of was getting wanted to get outside and kind of get more active. So I saw some videos on YouTube, and my roommate got a DJ. What was it? A TBS. What's the big TBS drone?
I have
Team
no
Black
idea.
Sheep.
It's all before my time.
What the hell is that thing called? Anyways, he got
Like
one
a
of
Vendetta
those.
or something.
No, like the big AP drone with the gimbal on it.
Oh, no idea.
Anyways, he got that, and we went out filming around the city, and then that kind of led into FPV stuff because it did have FPV on it. So yeah, I went to Drone Nationals. The first Drone Nationals was in California in Sacramento. I went to that. And then after that, it's kind of just like got my ass kicked there. So I was like, okay, if I want to be good at this, I really got to put in the time.
So when you got started, you just went like straight right into racing? Like it was just something you always knew you wanted to do as soon as you found FPV?
Yeah, so like I didn't really get into freestyle initially. I just went to racing, made some gates out of like PVC pipe and pool noodles, which actually worked really good. And we started flying through gates like right away, in level mode.
Hey man, we still got guys racing in level mode now. I mean, whatever works, doesn't really matter. If you're having fun, you're having fun. So
yeah, I mean,
go ahead.
Go ahead.
No,
I was gonna say Erlax has been flying in level mode on the sim, so he's been doing good with it.
See, there you go. As long as it works, it doesn't really matter. The thing I am kind of curious about is I do remember seeing you in some DR1 TV shows. How'd that whole thing end up happening? What was that experience like?
So I got, I know, so Sahand, he works at DR1, and we've kind of known each other since the beginning when IDRA was kind of still a thing. IDRA was like it's kind of like pre-MultiGP, I guess. They were doing like local races, kind of before MultiGP was around. So we were doing races in Oakland, and we became friends. IDRA kind of fell apart. But I always had that connection with Sahan. So he hit me up and it's like, hey, Lumineer needs a pilot. Do you want to race for DR1? I was like, hell yeah.
Sounds like a sweet deal.
Yeah, so I flew with Corey Ibanez and Kane and Phil Fraybot. So that was like probably the highlight of my racing career up until now. Getting to travel to all these exotic locations and racing against some of the best pilots in the world.
Yeah, those are actually really good shows too. I remember going back and watching all those once they were available. Definitely a good time. A little jealous of your experience, but
yeah, it was. Yeah, pretty sweet. I understood. Yeah, it was. I really like the thing I like about DR1 was the team racing aspect. I think it just brings a whole another element to the entertainment value. Is like the whole team, the pit stops, and all the action that goes on there, and
Was it the strategy of the pit stops, or was it just like the aspect of like relying on teammates? Like what part of it?
It's probably both, but the strategy was definitely interesting because we were running 4-lap races. So you had teams like Nextblades they were running like these custom 1800 mod packs, so they could, if they wanted to, fly 4 laps. So they had the option to basically fly 3 laps, land, and then do 1 pit stop, and then finish up 1 lap. So there's a lot of strategy involved with that. Like, do you do 2 laps, land? You only had 1 pit man, so you had to plan it out between the 2 pilots. Like if I'm flying, maybe I would have done 3 laps. Corey would have done 2, so we're not pitting at the same time. So it was pretty interesting. Like the first race was kind of a shit show because we were in the Mojave Desert and it was like 120 degrees, and we were all running like high KV 5S, so stuff was just like melting out there.
And even back in that first season, you guys were already doing 5S and pushing the limits.
Yeah, like we ran. I actually made like a bunch of custom 5S packs because it was like a struggle to get equipment in time for the show. So I went to Tattoo and got all these 1800 mod packs that they were sitting on the shelf for like 6 months that no one had bought, and tried to make 5S packs, but they ended up not really working too well. But luckily Lumineer came through and sent us their 1500 mod 5S packs, which were great.
Very, very cool. So the big thing that you've kind of become known for, at least that I've heard, I've seen you at IO before, and that's X Class. So I know you're into X Class. I don't know if you won some races or not, but I'm kind of curious how that whole thing came about, how you got involved there, and what that's been like.
Yeah. So I'm trying to remember how I got into it. Like I think obviously it started in the Bay Area. I think that's kind of where it got its roots. With like Zoe kind of kicking it off, and Sharif and I had known each other before X Class had started, so we had that relationship already. And Sharif is the designer of Horus drones, so he came to me and was like, "Hey, like I see what these guys are doing. I think we can do it better." And so he came out with a Horus Dreadnought, which unfortunately he didn't sell it to the public. It was just something that like a few people had, just because he didn't want to deal with like manufacturing and fulfillment and all that stuff. So he designed that frame for me, and like it was just like way above the level of the other frames that were out when in 2017 when it first got started. So we were just kind of dominating the X-Class scene. I won the first season and the second season. So like we were always kind of pushing the limits, testing gear, and when we first started, we were all running the same ESCs. We were all running those B-Rotor 80 amp ESCs. And it was kind of just like rolling the dice every time you race, if they were going to blow up or not. So it was like a lot of luck involved winning, the first season. And then the second season, we kind of, APD came into the game, and, their components just have been so much better and more reliable. T-Motor's been really good about developing like motors and stuff. And then, there's definitely a bunch of frame options out there now, which is good to see.
So did X Class start up before you started building the big drones, or did you start before the league was there?
The X Class started. I wanted to race, so that X Class was definitely like what got me into it.
Very cool. Yeah, so I mean, for X Class and reliability, I don't fly big drones myself, but I thought that's still kind of an issue, is kind of the reliability even these days. It's probably a lot better than it was, but I thought like IO last year, I thought there were some incidents going on.
Yeah, so like IO last year, this was before APD came out with their, they might have been out, but no one really knew about it because they're an Australian company. So they had their 100 amp ESCs. We were still running the B rotors back last year in 2018. Excuse me. So I was running Brain Radix and the Brain PDB, and I was actually running a bus bar for my PDB. So I didn't even have like the new APD PDB that can run like 120 amps. Sorry, 500 amps, not 120. 500 amp PDB, yeah. So I don't know what it was. I had my qualifying run. I was a top seed. I immediately put my car my drone into the car in the AC because it was like really hot, and brought it out for the finals. Plugged it in, caught fire.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
And replaced because the PDB actually popped, like the Radix. I don't know what it was, but it was a component on the PDB which powered the flight controller. So I replaced that, plugged it in, didn't work. But I had my X8, which was 4 arms and then motors on top and bottom, which I'd only flown once as like a demo. And so I grabbed that out of the car, plugged it in, and I think 5 out of the 8 ESCs caught fire when I plugged it in. So someone has it on camera where I'm like, stand back, this thing might blow, and then I plug it in and it blows up.
Man,
so I didn't get a race.
Bad luck.
This year I'm coming hard. I got APD stuff, which has been bulletproof. I haven't had any issues with it. I had a crash where an ESC caught fire, but it was a hard crash, so that's understandable. The impact. But it's been like really, they fly so much better these days.
Man, I'm looking forward to seeing those things at IO actually flying better. That should be a lot of fun. So
yeah. There's gonna be a lot of pilots out there. I think probably like 25, 30 guys I think are coming with X Class.
Sorry about that. The microphone just fell down.
Sorry, Mega Class. Excuse me.
Yeah, of course. Get it right. Mega Man class, I think. So the thing I'm curious about, are you flying to IO?
Yes. Yeah.
What is it like flying with those things?
It's, you got to take it apart. So you take the arms off, desolder the motors, and kind of just pack it up like that. And then it's not too bad. It takes like 10, 15 minutes to put it back together. So the new Source X from TBS. It just came out. They're actually live streaming right now, I think, announcing it. That's Horace's new design, and it's just 2 screws to remove the arm. So that was kind of part of the idea behind that design was that, I told Sharif, like, you got to be able to travel with these things. So,
that's got to be a huge challenge with those things being so big. So I did see that live stream. I think they did it the other day, but he showed like the one screw come out and then the whole arm slides out of the frame. So that's where you're going to be racing in the IO?
Maybe. I don't have one yet. Right now I'm racing the not the Cannonball, the Excalibur Broadsword. It's Dylan Hoops, his frame, your teammate.
Oh, sweet. I
from VRL.
Didn't even know. Is he going to be going to IO with one of those things too?
So he was on the fence, and then I told him I'd send him some motors and ESCs. So I sent him some of my old B-Rotor ESCs that I'm never going to use again, and sent him some motors to try to get him to come. So I think he's going to make it.
Oh, sweet. That's awesome. I look forward to seeing him. Hope he makes it.
Yeah, because he's a really good pilot, and he flies X-Class really well too, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, that will be fun. I think they're planning on doing like more of a focus on the quote-unquote mega class this year too, right? Like not just you fly for this 2-hour period, but there's actually open flying all the time. Did I follow that right?
Well, last year they had a track that was like basically open track, so you had like micros flying in the same heat with X-Class pilots. So I think you could fly whenever on that track, but I probably wouldn't fly my X-Class like with 5 inches flying around, just because they fly at different speeds and different lines, so it'd be mid-air nightmare.
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing this year too. I just remember last year there was like 2 sets of gates on that track, and at one point they took down like the 5-inch gates.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So last year we raced on the team track. I think this year micro is the same as the team in the X-Class track, so they're all 3 in the same place.
Yeah, that's what I saw. So I thought maybe there'd be more X-Class racing, but maybe you're right. Like people aren't going to want to run at the same time. So
yeah, we'll see. I mean, I definitely I'm going to need to tune when I get there, because Miwao has this like software on his computer that he can do like black box tuning with. So I'm going to try to get him to tune my X-Class for me.
So what I'm curious... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say the Baylands guys, Ferry, he's like he was the champion last season, and they have a design where it's I think eight motors. So there's you have the arm, there's a motor on the outside, and then there's a motor on the middle, and they're running like 6-inch F80s.
Gotcha.
So,
I have seen something like that before. Maybe that's where I saw it.
It's definitely interesting. Like if you don't want to spend as much money as the big ones cost to build, that's definitely an option. And it's cool to see like different designs and all that stuff. So
so what I am curious about is I've always looked at that being like X-Class will cost me more money, so that makes me nervous. Crashes will probably cost me more money, but like what's the experience like? What is racing that thing like? Is it that much fun? Is it feel like a less powerful quad? I'm just curious, like, what's the experience like?
It's like it's kind of like riding a bull almost. Like flying a 5-inch is like driving a Ferrari or something. Flying X-Class is like kind of riding like a wild animal almost. It's like, I mean, they're more powerful than a 5-inch for sure. So it's like that. It's just kind of terrifying to begin with.
I am always terrified when I see them.
But like it's completely different feeling racing those, like, because you have the money on the line, you have like the power, you have the sound, and it's just like kind of open tracks, so it's like just completely different feel. It's the biggest rush like you can get from racing, I think.
The biggest rush you can get from racing. That's what I'm going to remember. Maybe I'll have to try it sometime. So there's a question from RC Addict. He wants to know what your favorite 12S stator size in KV is. I think he's trying to take some notes.
Oh boy. I honestly don't know, because T-Motor doesn't release their stator sizes. So whatever the F1000s are, they're big. I can tell you like which motors I know are good. I mean, so the F1000s that I run are not out yet. They're going to be released, I think, at I/O. The Mad motors are good. The Polars are good. Brother. I mean, there's tons of good motors out there. Like the Brother Hobbies are really good. They're a little bit taller and skinnier than the F1000s. The F1000s are more of like kind of a pancake style motor, so they're shorter and wider. So I don't know. They're huge. I don't know.
And you're running 12S on all those things. No problem with 12S.
12S, yeah. So 12S stuff comes down cooler. You get more flight time. You can corner better. It just changes the way these things fly. They literally fly like a 5-inch quad if you can tune it right. With the 12S, you just have to worry about the arcing when you plug it in, so you can do like some sort of you can get the anti-arcing connectors if you want. I just run XT60s, so I have. I can grab it actually.
You run an XT60 to the quad or like?
Yeah, let me just grab it because it's hard to explain. It's right here.
Wow, that just sounds absolutely crazy to me. I thought like XT60, 60 amps, and you're talking 500 amps.
It doesn't make sense, but it works. People told me I was crazy. People think I'm crazy. So I have this connector here. Can you see that?
Yeah, I got you.
So that's one side, and then the APD PDB has two battery leads. So this is the other side.
Okay, so you're plugging in 4 batteries, like 2 in series, 2 in parallel.
Right, and so it just sits like that.
So you spread that 60 across 4. Maybe it's not so bad.
Yeah, and so when I plug them in, I'll like kind of rotate it between these connectors because they do arc pretty bad, and they start to get charred.
Yep.
So I would probably swap these connectors out like every 10 plugins or whatever. Maybe not that many, but definitely want to keep them clean.
And then what size battery are you running on those? So you're using 4 different batteries, 4 6S batteries. What size?
Right now I'm running 1250 mAh, so I think that it breaks down to just 1250 mAh.
Well, you're doing parallel and serial, right? So it'd be
yeah. Might be 25. I think it comes down to 2500.
Yeah, it would, but that's crazy. So you use the same exact batteries you use on your race quad to fly your X class.
Yeah, which is awesome because you don't have to travel with those big ass packs. The big packs, cells die on those, and you're out like $300. So
that's definitely more convenient. Definitely easier for traveling a place like IO.
Yeah, and it's nice. You just go to the field and you have your all one pack, so you don't need to worry about bringing a bunch of different packs.
And well, you know what? I'm really looking forward to seeing you bring those things at IO and see how they do. So I'm going to make sure I don't spend 100% of the day always at World Cup like I did last year. But
yeah, you can see the motors. Yeah, this thing flies so good.
But still like a bucking bull.
This one's a little more tame. It's almost like a domesticated, like horse or something.
Nice.
A racing horse.
Nice. So moving from there, the thing I'm curious about, one of the things that I've known about you for a long time that you've been really well known for is flying simulators, and simulators in particular, I'd say is Velocidrone. And I'm just kind of curious how you came across finding Velocidrone. Why Velocidrone over some of the other simulators? Just how that whole thing happened.
Yeah, I mean, I think I was like hardcore on the DRL sim. I did the tryouts in 2017. I qualified top 5 for that, but I didn't make the trip to New York. They gave me the option to come to Miami to do like a race, like a wild card race. So I went to that instead. It was like a real life race. Looking back, I kind of wish I went to the sim race because I probably had a better chance of winning that. But it was fun to do the actual like real life DRL race, but it was just so intense. Like the pressure on DRL sets was like way higher than DR1 from what I remember.
And that was the one in the Miami Dolphins Stadium or whatever?
Yeah. So I think I got like 3rd place there. Flying Bear beat me. He's my local rival.
He's a damn fast pilot, though. He can't be too sad about that.
Yeah, but he kind of went to a little retirement lately, but now he's coming back, so he's coming to IO, so that should be fun.
Yeah, I saw he was posting videos lately about practicing.
Yeah, we fly together every Friday. Me, him, Z-Stone, Meanwhile. There's a bunch of good pilots down here, so we get together Fridays. I was doing the DRL sim, did the tryouts. And then I found out about Velocidrone. You know, it was kind of like a European thing, I think, initially. It was big with the European pilots. I saw some videos, and I was like, oh, you know, it's $20. It's worth a try. So I tried it, and it was like so much better than DRL Sim. It was crazy. This was before DRL Sim like had done all their physics engine and that kind of stuff. I think it's still better. DRL Sim's definitely gotten a lot better, but I still prefer Velocidrone. I just like the community better, and you know, when you hop online, there's always race lobbies going, so it's fun.
You talk about the community being better, but I feel like you're one of those guys who's actually built the community to be a lot better too. So,
I guess, yeah. I don't know. Like, I think I was always online on the sim. Like, always, I was hosting lobbies, and I was like, just thinking, like, you know, we should have a racing league, because DRL did their tryouts once a year, and then it was kind of like a ghost town. So I thought, like, hey, let's, you know, I'm a gamer. I love competition. So I was like, hey, let's start doing like these like weekly races. So we started doing like VRL. It was me and then FP Vegan jumped on with me like a few months after to help me do like all the live streaming and that kind of stuff. And then he actually left to go work for DRL a few months back. So, but it was me and him initially, and then we started doing. So we had like individual races for a while, and then we started kicking off the VRL like team season, because I really, after doing DR1, kind of got really into team racing.
yeah, so when did that start? Like, I didn't actually find VRL until like season 3 or 4 or something like that. But
Yeah.
you know, when did VRL season 1 start? What time frame are we talking about?
So that was in. Oh my god, my memory's so bad. That was like fall of 2017 or winter 2017. Yeah. So that was almost
It's not that
a
long
year and a
ago.
half ago. Yeah, it's not.
I mean, to do like 4 full seasons plus all the other night races you're doing, I mean, there's a lot going on in a short period of time.
Yeah, so the seasons are usually like 2 months long. We take like a month off and then get back into it.
And then how many pilots were there in the first season of VRL?
Oh man. Probably had. I mean, there were probably like 30 guys that were like on the sim racing consistently, where we were like kind of like having to ask pilots to like join us. But now, like this last season, we had like 150 pilots try out.
Jeez.
So it's definitely gotten a lot bigger, and I think maybe we would have more, but it's like some pilots maybe feel like they can't compete, so they didn't want to try or something. So we've kind of been talking about doing like I guess an amateur league kind of thing, just to give people that like same experience. So there's other guys that are talking about like running another league on Velocidrone, where it'd be like more of like a not so much the pro level sim racing league, but a little bit below that. I mean, we run the TBS live races every Wednesday night, and that's open to anyone. So if you guys are watching, definitely encourage you to check that out. I mean, there's a lot of guys that have been showing up for like months now, and they're just starting to get out of the E-main, but you know, they stuck with it and they're getting faster. Like the level of skill that's been increasing on TBS Live is out of control. Like the C main level of racing now was like the A main a couple months ago.
I think
So it's just like,
I haven't done them in a while. It's been, I don't know, a couple months that I did the TBS racing. But I noticed you were in the C main I think the last race that I watched.
Yes.
That did not used to
the
happen.
No, but it's good. I mean, it motivates me, and you know, because we have all these young kids who now are like on the sim. So it's definitely like it's the most competitive racing out there, because it's basically spec racing. Everyone's flying the same speed. You have to fly the perfect line to keep up, so everyone's flying the same lines, and you have one mistake and you're out. So it's just crazy.
Yeah, man, I was super glad that I participated in VRL the last season. Just I was not prepared for what that experience was like. Like, you know, I first found out about it the season before because Neon was doing VRL, And I hadn't heard of VRL before, but Neon's a Detroit multi-rotor pilot. His dad, interacts with us a lot. And it's just like, hey, watch Johnny. He's doing this race in VRL. Like, what's this VRL thing? Like, oh, dude, look at Neon go. That's awesome. And so they were really pumping it up. Like, you guys got to do this. You guys got to do this. Like, all right, we're going to go try it out and do this too. And, dude, the very first VRL race I ever did, just the amount of nerves and shaking going on is like,
crazy,
it doesn't
right?
even compare to like World Cup IO. Like,
No.
you're on the stage, World Cup or champs, and you're a little nervous, but VRL is like, oh my God. I was not prepared for that.
Man. So like, weird. It's true.
It's just a simulator. But no, dude, it's like you said, the level of competition is just so high. You got to be so perfect. More perfect than you could ever imagine doing in a real life quad, it feels like. It's a whole other level. Then plus just the team aspect. You do not want to be the guy who lets your teammates down.
Yeah, for sure. Like, I really liked this season how we had like the offline leaderboard competition. So like everyone was involved with that. So like, we had 8 pilots on a team. Some of the guys didn't get a race on the live races, but they still were part of the competition and doing the leaderboard stuff offline. So that was really cool. And it was like just crazy at the lap times we were seeing every week on the tracks, and like how close some of these competitions came down to. Like, I think one week it was like less than a second separating us and ESC on Fire, one of the other teams, and that's 8 pilots flying 3 laps on a track, so it's 24 laps total for 2 teams, 48 laps, and we were separated by less than a second. That's like the level of insanity that the sim racing is.
Yeah, man, I remember we had even like the 3 and 4 spots, or 4 and 5, whatever it was we were battling with. We had something similar where there's a cutoff at like midnight Pacific time, and then we got past, I think, 30 minutes before the cutoff. Yeah. And so like a lot of us on the East Coast are already in sleep and we're not worried about it. But then Hoops saw it. He's like, oh no. And Hoops is already our top qualifier. He found another half second to improve his time to beat him by like 0.03 seconds. It was just crazy. It's like, all right, guys, I got us back. Like, dude, this is insane.
It's like I'd always set a really good time like early in the week, and then I could never beat it. So it's like kind of like, sorry guys, like it's up to you to to beat your time, so I can't beat mine.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only thing that kind of bothered me in that format was we did have some teams where guys never submitted times. So that was kind of a bummer in the VRL format, but
turn the light down, it's pretty bright. So I mean, we try to, we're slowly figuring out who's dependable, who's not, and like each season it kind of gets better and better, like which pilots to pick up and which pilots really want to do it. So it's just, it's getting better each year or each season.
Yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes, I guess.
Yeah. So I mean, this next season is going to be maybe even bigger. So
yeah, I'm curious to get to that. But so I mean, I think one thing, I did want to mention. One thing that was a little bit difficult for me in getting started, especially when you talk about like the TBS races, was there wasn't much information out there on how to get involved. So I started seeing the live streams show up. I think you were streaming on Twitch. You're streaming on YouTube and like the TBS Lounge, I think, or something like that. They're showing up on Facebook. So I was seeing these live streams, and I was like, dude, that looks like so much fun. I want to get involved. I remember showing up, like I was trying to join the Velocidrone Racing lobbies. I couldn't find them. I was trying to go to the live stream and like, guys, how do I race? I want to race. I had no idea what to do. And so I think eventually one of those comments, I was like, what do I do? I think Austin reached out to me. He's like, hey, here's the Discord link. Go there. I'm like, I didn't even have Discord at the time. I'm like, what's Discord? Yeah. So I finally got set up. So I feel like there's a little bit of a barrier entry to getting people started there. So hopefully we can help get that information out there. Like, where is the link for Discord if people are kind of curious about it?
There isn't one. So I run the league by myself, and I have not completely by myself, but I have help from Yuri DeFury. He's been really great helping me with like the spreadsheets and that kind of stuff, and he's always answering questions. But like we don't have a website or anything like that. It's just kind of, I just don't have enough time in the day to like do everything.
Yeah, that was one of the points I was about to get to, because you started mentioning like the amateur league. I'm like, oh no, like how could you possibly do things like that?
No, I wouldn't be running that. I don't think so. But like, I think what we can do is been talking to Ashley at Velocidrone about having like something on the website where it's like a VRL, um, in the menu or whatever, so you can click on that and it has all the information.
Dude, that'd be
Uh,
amazing.
and like a calendar maybe.
See, I was just thinking like a sticky post in the Velocidrone community Facebook page or something.
Well, if you go Velocidrone Racing League on Facebook, we have events there, and I can add a Discord link to that. But it just seems like no one really used that page when I created it. Everyone joined it, but I don't know if people didn't have notifications on or whatever it was, but we kind of just stopped using it and just used Discord, which isn't ideal.
Yeah, I mean that was definitely I think a complaint on my part too, was just that a lot of announcements roll through Discord, and you start to have this feeling like, oh man, I got to make sure I'm always on Discord or I'm going to miss something. I'm not going to know what's going on. So that was a little bit of just like worrisome, but I think just making sure that people who want to get involved, because it's a whole ton of fun. There's always a link to go get set up. Download Discord. You're in the group. Now you can always join the races, because once you're in there, like people are super helpful. If you say, hey, I'm having a hard time, there's always someone helping you out. Here's the lobby you joined. Here's how you join the lobby. Here's what you do. So I feel like as long as you can get to Discord, you can get every other problem solved.
Yeah, I agree. Well, so what I'll do is on the Velocidrone Racing League Facebook, like if people want to, follow that, I can have a Discord link in maybe the description of the page or something. I don't know how I would do it, but we can get that. But yeah, if you guys follow Velocidrone Racing League on Facebook and just have your notifications on for it, like we don't post anything except for like events. So there's no like video spamming or anything like that.
Yeah, maybe if there is an event, just include the link to Discord to say, to join. Make sure you use Discord, something like that, so people can find it. Because, I mean, I think, like you mentioned, that's an amazing way to get involved in racing. Like, I definitely saw people who are intimidated to join VRL. Like, the level of racing in VRL is really, really top-notch. It's hard work to be competitive in VRL. But what I noticed was the TBS, like, live streams, every level is racing there. And I'm seeing, I mentioned Neon last time, so I'll mention his dad, which we call him Fun Police. I don't know if he officially changed his name or not, but he's in there racing too with this kid, and he's ended up in the bottom level mains, but he's had a good time. We're putting him against like Quad Doc, and you have every level of skill racing and having a good time. So it's just a really great way. It's a similar format to VRL, but offering a skill level for everybody, and it's every single week there's a new opportunity. So it's a great way to get involved, and definitely recommend people checking that out.
Yeah, so we're racing tomorrow night. Starts at 6 p.m. is when the tracks usually release the day of the event. Sometimes if the track's like really complex, I'll release it a day earlier. So the track's already out right now. I made a post in the Velocidrone community, so if you guys join the Velocidrone community Facebook page, you'll see a post in there as well. But the track's out. It's basically if you just search for SFPV in the track editor in Velocidrone, it'll pop up as the first track. But so like if you guys are on the stream right now and you want to join us tomorrow night, all you need to do is if you follow Velocidrone Racing League, I'll make sure that the Discord link's on there and the event's on there and all that good stuff.
I mean, I think that's awesome. I think there's two recommendations I'd have from that. One, if you have Velocidrone, go into the track editor, the download track, and just search SFPV. Just download all those tracks. So every single one of them
depends on your skill level.
Amazing.
If you want to kill yourself, if you're just getting started.
That is true, but I'd still give them a shot. Like I've seen people fly them all different skill levels. You don't have to fly them as fast. It's just seeing those kind of elements in those tracks has been really amazing. I tell a lot of people, I felt when I started doing the VRL tracks and flying VRL, I felt like I was getting this glimpse into the future, or the future that I hoped would be for drone racing. Like one day I dreamed this is what a track looks like at a drone race. So maybe one day.
So.
What's that?
I hope so.
It would be amazing. It's the elements you want to see. They're just not practical yet, but hopefully one day we get a little bit more money, a little bit more fancy stuff, and we start flying these sorts of tracks.
Yeah, I mean, I see like these races in Korea. They're kind of getting close to the type of stuff we're doing in the sim. The tracks are like, visually like really stunning, and it's all like matching and nice cones and all that stuff. So it looks really good on camera. So seems like they're on the right track over there. Nice big open tracks, high speed.
See, that's what I saw in Korea. Is definitely the wide open, good looking, like consistent gates. A lot of money gone on the track, but not the, I'm used to a lot of the high technical elements that I see in the VRL tracks too, as well as incorporating sort of natural elements and lots of elevation changes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I get bored with like tracks that are on the ground. So like, we're starting to plan for the Cali Clash actually coming up in about a month and a half, and we have this abandoned building secured that we're going to be racing at with a lot of like elevation changing and power loops and like building dives. So it should be pretty fun.
Dude, there was that video that Lennon put out probably like maybe a week or a little less than a week ago saying, here, I got some lines from Colby that it might be possible he's just flying, like doing power loops around the building. And I couldn't believe video actually worked.
Yeah,
like, clearly there's one take and the video works somehow, but it just looked like it'd be a sick race.
So we're gonna be going out there this weekend to do like video testing. We're gonna try to get 6 pilots up in the air, but if it's too sketchy, we'll just stick with like 4 or 5.
Yeah, that's what I was actually worried about too. Is if he's going to flying by himself and saying it works, but what does it look like with more pilots out there? Maybe we can get like clear views too or something.
Yeah, we're gonna get clear views for sure. So that should help. So yeah, I mean the Cali Clash is all about team racing. Last year it was NorCal versus SoCal, and we absolutely destroyed SoCal. So this year we're gonna make it open to like traditional teams, so teams of 4 pilots. So like, if you have a team you want to come out, it's open registration right now.
Is it going to be like individuals on a team racing, or is it going to be team racing?
So it's going to be day 1 will be individual racing, but your individual score goes towards your team total. And the way we did it last year, it was really cool, is that no matter what your skill level is, you'll be racing all day, and you'll be competing against pilots with similar skill levels. So we have our qualifying rounds, and that seeds you for the rest of the day. So let's say you qualify in 7th place overall. You would race against pilots 7 through 12 the rest of the day, and the winner of that group gets prize money. The winner of the group above you, from pilots 1 through 6, gets prize money. So it's like these groups that you stick with the whole day, and you basically race like DRL style heats to determine the winners of each group.
Sounds almost like VRL style team racing in real life.
Yeah, it's kind of is. And then the team race on Sunday, we do like DR1 style, where it's 2 pilots versus 2 pilots from each team. So no pit stop. You don't need any like pit switching technology or anything like that. It's pretty straightforward. So actually, not DR1, DCL. I was gonna mix up DCL. Gotcha. So it's like the all up heat, like the big heat,
Yep. And then is there going to be like a cap for number of participants? Is there going to be a cost to get in there?
Yeah, so we're probably going to cap it at 40 pilots, just so that you get a lot of flight time. And usually when you get above 40, it starts to get a little bit bogged down. The registration fee is $100 for the weekend. So it's pretty. Dude, it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, I mean, and are there like places close by to there, hotels for people traveling from out of town? Is it an easy place to like? Are there amenities around the band, or are you like really screwed? Like, can you spend a whole day there?
It's in the same area as last year, which is Visalia, which is like a pretty big city in Central California. The closest airport would be like Fresno Airport, which is not a huge airport, but you can definitely get connections to there. I don't think it's like crazy expensive, but the bando itself is in a town called Exeter, and I'm not sure how big it is, but it's right next to Visalia, which is like a pretty big city. So like there's tons of stuff, like restaurants and Airbnbs and all that good stuff.
And like on the premise though, there's like even basic things like bathrooms and such, when there's 40 guys spending the whole day there.
Yeah. We'll get porta potties. Last year we got porta potties.
That makes sense.
And we'll have like a food truck come out and stuff. So
sounds awesome.
It'll be good. It'll be good.
Yeah, man, definitely one to be watching for this year. Will there be a live stream again? I remember watching the one from last year.
Yeah, well, the one from last year was pretty bad because we were running it off like a mobile hotspot. But yeah, we'll have a live stream again. So definitely gotta get the internet figured out there.
Yeah, man, I hope I can make it out there, but if I can't, I'll at least be tuning in to watch. So that sounds like that'll be one sweet race this year. Is Charlie from Hobby Wing not involved in that race?
I'm not sure yet. I haven't talked to him, but he didn't come last year. Oh.
Well, he's like, is
Charlie,
there a Bando race?
Charlie, we need you. Yeah, we'd love to have Charlie come hang out and do his magic. Oh, what's up, Mike? Yeah, I'm going to IO for sure. Yeah, so last year the race was run by the Good Times guys they're from San Diego, so they brought the inflatable gates. I don't think we're going to do inflatable gates this year just because it's in a abandoned factory and there's probably like stuff that could puncture the gates. And last year it was like when the temperature started dropping in the evening, the gates started deflating. So, but we shouldn't have that problem this year because we're racing in July, so it's gonna be hot as hell.
Yeah, it should be fine. I just have, whenever I think of inflatable gates, now I think of that first DCL race of this year. I don't know if you watched that, but just deflate.
Right, that's the downside. They're amazing to fly through and to crash into, but like it makes the race take a lot longer.
Yep.
So I think we went till like 1 a.m. Saturday, last Cali Clash. Saturday night went to like 1 a.m.
Yeah, and then RC Addict wants to know if there's going to be a team Velocidrone for the IO team race this year.
Oh, you know it. Of course, yeah. We're coming to get second place again. We always get second place.
Come on.
Right now, the team's going to be me, Meow, Flying Bear, and probably Ferry or JFK. I don't know. We're probably gonna have 2 teams, honestly.
Oh, nice.
So we'll have like an A, B, maybe even a C team. Because there's 12 of us coming. So we'll see.
And they're not teams like other teams fighting over it, like Team Flight 1 or someone else of the same pilots.
No, I mean we're just gonna basically spread it out, based on how we're flying on the track and just kind of seed our teams.
Very cool. Yeah, so that's something I'm looking forward to too. I think there's no fee this year, right? There's a fee last year and no fee this year or something like that.
There wasn't a fee last year, no.
Oh no.
But I mean, the team race. I was kind of bummed about the team race last year. To be honest, it was kind of like felt like an afterthought. I wish like they would put more focus on the team racing because I think it's the future, the way to go for drone racing. It's my favorite thing to do, team racing. So, MultiGP is like, they're trying. We had the Mayhem race, which was a huge success. So hopefully we'll see more events like that pop up. Mayhem was just strictly a team race.
Yeah, so that was just something you just mentioned that's the thing for drone racing. So you're into all sorts of like, I'll say the niche or cutting edge of drone racing, whether it be the online sim racing, which, for anyone who saw or was part of the DRL trials this year, the production of that was just incredible. And even though it's a simulator, and even though they're up on stage, just, that was a really great spectator experience. So you have that whole side of it. You have the team racing, like you just mentioned. You have the X Class, which, the big driver for X Class that we've always heard about is it's amazing for spectators. They're so loud. It's like the NASCAR of drone racing. But you think team racing is kind of the future of drone racing more than the others?
I mean, yeah, you look at like you look at any racing or like motorsport, there's always like a team aspect to it. You have like Formula One where you have teams of drivers, but you also have like the team, like you have the manager and like pit guys and all that stuff. So, but yeah, like you were saying, like the DRL tryouts this year in Vegas, it was like way more exciting to watch than the actual nationals race, which was kind of sad to be honest. But like I had way more fun watching the sim tryouts than actual nationals, and I was
except for watching Heads Up versus Vanover, but everything else I agree.
Well, I mean, like we were all huddled around like one tiny TV, and like you couldn't really like tell what was going on. It's like, I mean, it wasn't ideal.
That's true. I mean, the environment, the massive TVs, the great commentating, the duo of them, the easy to see on the screen who's doing what and a bar right there it's a pretty great combination.
Yeah, and or I mean, it probably didn't help that it was like 20 degrees, out on the field and windy and like miserable. So,
Yep.
I mean, yeah, it was kind of like a big contrast between the nationals and the actual sim trials. It was kind of sad.
Yep. But yeah, I do hope that this year MultiGP tries to make a bigger deal of the team racing as far as like the production aspect, because I felt like they did a pretty good job of the production for the actual World Cup race, even though it was extremely late.
Yeah.
But that same sort of production value going into the team race I think would be really incredible, because I
Yeah.
actually agree with you. I think that team racing is the future of the sport of drone racing. So not necessarily the hobby of drone racing, but the sport aspect of it. I think team racing is where it's at. And I'm surprised we don't see more team racing coming out of like, DRL and similar kind of organizations yet, because it's just,
I
to
don't
me,
know.
it's
Yeah,
just so much better.
I mean, like DCL is kind of blowing up right now. You look at their numbers, and DRL is kind of like on the downturn a little bit. I think people like the team aspect and the whole like emotion that goes into that. All the the communication, the behind the scenes stuff, and the flight line action that's going on. So like DCL, I think is definitely doing it right.
That's interesting.
So,
I actually think they're doing it wrong.
DCL.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of watching DCL. Like, I watch DCL because, I know a handful of the pilots and I want to cheer for those pilots. But like as far as the actual production and show, it doesn't do it for me, because the 1v1 races, it feels like 9 out of 10 times it's one guy crashes and the other guy wins because the one crashed. And then there's some downtime, and then we race. They failed to get off the line. Okay, that race is done. Now we're gonna make 10 more minutes doing it again. Like, there's just so much downtime, which is the whole thing that like a real team race just completely gets rid of.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Like, there's a lot of instances on DCL where there's like a tech issue or like a team gets disqualified, and you're like,
yeah, they don't explain why.
As a viewer, you're like, what happened to Quad Force One? Like, why aren't they taking off? And like, so like, I mean, they're working on it.
It's definitely a difficult thing to do.
But yeah, like the format's a little confusing, for me as a experienced drone racer. Like, it's still confusing to me to watch and like figure out the scoring and all that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, one of the things. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I just like, from what I've heard from pilots, from a pilot experience, it's like the best. So.
Yeah, I've definitely heard good things from the pilots. But from a spectator's perspective, one thing I really like with team racing is, the opportunity to do analysis, the opportunity to explain what's going on, having comebacks. There's just a lot of things that go into it. So, I actually really enjoy the side conversations, especially like technical analysis from commentators. So here's the strategy that Team A is going with, or Team B, and explaining that to the viewers. And when you're doing like just 1v1 drone racing, they're like a minute-long races. It doesn't really give you much time to say anything other than, and right now this guy's in first, and he's in second, and he's still in first, and he won. Like, it's just, it misses a lot of that aspect of that interaction and like explaining the sport, and just that team race really opens up to what I feel like you'd have more like that professional sports style broadcast experience.
Yeah, I mean, there's like, definitely need to figure out, like, I mean, watching an hour of team racing might not be the most exciting thing either. So maybe we need to think about like time, the shorter time frame, which like IO was good last year. It was 20 minutes. But maybe we need to have like more sessions, because I felt like it was just like too short.
Yeah, I felt like 20 minutes was too short.
Yeah, for 4 pilots, you're getting like 3 or 4 packs. So it'd be nice to have like 10 packs or so.
Yeah, I think we were limited to 3 packs is all we were getting each pilot, and it was the kind of thing where like somebody would crash or go down, and then so one pilot, all right, you're done, you got 3.
Yeah,
it's just it was a little bit, I don't know, but I think something like an hour could actually be really cool. But we'll see. I think also you work it in. I remember Mayhem had the cautions, but I almost wonder if you can do it like like a basketball game where you have quarters almost. So it's like, we're going for 30 minutes. There'll be a pause. We'll collect quads, do whatever else, and we go again. I don't know. Maybe
that's what we did for the ASL race at the Sacramento Kings Arena. It was like we had like sessions like that. It seemed to work pretty well.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, I'd love to see that, and then some brackets, maybe some drama. I don't know. I'm getting excited for team racing, even though I haven't really done it yet. But I did
bracket would
IO,
be
but I
cool.
want to do more stuff.
I mean, Mayhem was like the most insane, like fun event I've ever been to. So,
And that was 12 hours.
yeah, I see Vanover in the chat. He was there. His team was just feeding him quads all day.
Yeah, and then he broke them all. I thought he wasn't racing at the end or something.
No, I think he was there at the end, but I mean, 12 hours sounds like a lot, but it was like, I didn't feel like it was too long. I could have kept going.
I mean, it was like I was talking to Nurk, I think, last week. Not so much about that, but just he was talking about IO and how he felt like he flew too much. We're at the point he didn't want to fly more quads, and I was like, I can't imagine ever getting to that point. Like, I remember IO was like, man, I wish I could fly more quads. That's how I feel like it would be like for me at Mayhem, but maybe at some point we reach like a breaking point.
I mean, like IO is, it's the whole time you're there, you're trying to set a fast time for the World Cup track, and so you're breaking stuff the whole time. But you have like unlimited packs basically, so it's kind of like at some point you kind of got to just stop and be happy with your time and kind of save your gear for the for Saturday.
Yeah, I didn't learn that lesson last year. I couldn't bring myself away. I didn't even care about like setting a better time. It's just like I just wanted to fly, and I want to fly again and fly again.
Yeah, track is really fun. So
yeah, I think I was getting like 66, 65 packs a day. So
my
definitely get a lot of packs at IO.
I was kind of running around the whole time, like doing the X class stuff, and so I didn't get as many packs as I wanted to, but it's hard. There's so much to do there. Like the Tiny Whoop racing this year is gonna be insane. That was really fun last year. That was my favorite part last year. Was
Tiny Whoop racing.
Yeah.
Well, I guess we'll have to see what comes out this time. See if somebody can take down Fluxy this year.
Yeah, I was close last year.
Did you?
I got second last year, but Vanover is gonna be there this year. So he's the Tiny Whoop. What is it? The Invitational champion. So he's got something to say about that, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. He'll always have something to say about that. But do you know if Rab's going too, or is he going to the New Jersey race?
Yeah. Rab's probably the favorite. I don't know.
That's the race I've been talking about. I remember I was talking to Vanover back at Champs. Like, all right, man, there's this guy racing Tiny Whoops. I know you just won the Tiny Whoop Invitational, but there's this guy Rab. You two need to hook up at some point and do a race. I want to see what happens, but I'll be excited if that actually finally happens at International Open this year.
Yeah, I keep trying to get Vanover to build an X Class, but it hasn't happened yet.
I thought he won one.
He did, so hopefully if he has one, bring it to IO and we'll race finally.
Vanover, man, bring your DR1 quad. Didn't you build the DR1 quads too?
Yeah, I built the one. So I think him and like Sean Taylor, they got to keep the frames. So hopefully he has it and it's still working.
Yeah, man, bring it. I want to see that race too. Vanover versus Colby.
Yeah, let's do it.
What's he say? Build me a rig. I'll bring mine to IO.
I'm trying to build my own right now. I'm trying to build two. I want to have two for IO, so I got one right now. So I'm trying to build a second one, so we'll see what happens.
He says he's bringing his own too, so I don't know why he can't race that one, but man,
there we go.
He's out there racing.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
So the kind of circling back, the one thing I do want to talk to you about is the next upcoming season of VRL. So we talked a bit about VRL season 4 and how that was going. You just put out an announcement, I think it was yesterday, the day before, talking about VRL 5 is about to start right after International Open. What can you let me know about that? And Vanover saying he doesn't want to break his own, but tough. Maybe Colby can make you another one later after IO or something.
Just don't crash.
Yep. Yeah, don't crash. Vanover doesn't crash anyway.
So yeah, this next season, I had some companies reach out to me showing some interest in getting a team onto, into the competition. So we had like Team Black Sheep reached out, Apex Racing showed some interest. So figured this season that we would open it up to like official teams. So like Flight One has a team. So the idea of that is that they would actually put money into the season, and then all of that money goes to the pilots. So we have like a bigger prize pool. So that was kind of really the only reason why I wanted to do that was to just get bigger prizes for the pilots in the end. So like we're gonna keep it to 7 teams just because that's we can only have 7 pilots flying at once. So 7 teams seems to be good. And we're probably going to have a draft as well this year to fill out the spots for some of these teams that don't have enough pilots. So like Drone Nation, they're going to be a team this year. I talked to them yesterday, and he's already asking me about like, how can you pick up pilots? So we're definitely going to have like a draft this year to get people involved if they're not on a racing team already.
So I guess that's kind of where I think I mentioned to you before. I had some kind of concerns about that model for VRL. I think we talked about it earlier. One of the things that makes VRL so compelling to me, and also from like a Hydra betting standpoint, I think it's the best thing to bet Hydra on out there, is just the amount of parity between the different teams, and you never know quite who's going to win. And so with teams bringing their own pilots, and I don't know who and how they determine what pilot goes where to what team, like how do you maintain that same sort of parity in a situation where you have these companies bringing their teams in?
I mean, I think it'll be fine. There's so many pilots now that are like at such a close skill level that I don't think it'll be a huge problem. And like Flight One has their team, and like it's a solid team, but like there's 40 other pilots that can compete with them. In my opinion, we had, I'd say the top 5 from each team this last season were all, pretty damn close in skill level. So I think the talent will spread out pretty evenly, and we'll we're getting rid of some pilots that maybe didn't show up for their teams this last season. So I think we'll have some more new pilots coming in who are more active and more excited to race. Like pilots like Neucal, who just showed up out of nowhere and now he's like beating me on the sim. So like there's new pilots always coming up that will be able to join in and like bring the competition level. And Chief's on the chat right now too. Chief, I heard rumors that Chief might be joining us, so I think there'll be plenty of good pilots to be passed around.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely one of my concerns is that aspect of it. And I don't know, maybe they join up and maybe one team's paying this guy and that guy, and I don't know. And then you have other teams who are resorting to a draft where you're basically drafting the guys who didn't get handpicked. And I think you'll always see guys like show up out of nowhere. Like you mentioned Neucal, like he's definitely one of the great stories that we've seen. Other ones that I felt like were great stories of last season were kind of like Fly Cucks, He wasn't really a VRL pilot before. You knew him from kind of MultiGP, but he was kind of like in the back for a while. Then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, that guy's fast. You saw Wild Type really get real fast. So you've seen a lot of them, which came through that draft, but it still feels like there's going to be a big disadvantage. And just speaking to like, us at the end of last season, going into every like leaderboard spash, we knew the best we'd ever do is 5th place. It's just, that's where we're at.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the last season we had a draft, so it was supposed to be even, but some pilots showed up for teams and some pilots didn't. I think that was the main problem. But like my goal with VRL was always to like be about the pilots and to get pilots noticed. We've gotten pilots noticed throughout the last few seasons, and like my thought is if VRL can get someone on Team Flight One and get them like real gear to start flying in real life, like Rab, like that's a success. Like that's what I want. I want pilots that put in the time, put in the work, that are like, excited about drone racing to like get rewarded. So like that was the whole idea. Like, okay, Flight One, yeah, maybe they're gonna go handpick some guys, but those guys are gonna get a real sponsorship deal and be able to compete in real life. So that's kind of like, that was my thought behind it.
Yeah, which I think is actually really cool, and I like that aspect, and I actually like the representation of real companies or representation by someone as an outside. Like these are real teams, not just like a made up like ESC on Fire. Cool name.
Yeah,
and all,
it's like what is?
I like
like,
having
what the hell
this,
is that?
Like for example, I'll say like Team Flight One I think is really cool because Flight One is a big community. You see guys who fly Flight One who they're going to cheer for Team Flight One because they feel a connection to Flight One. So I love that aspect of it. It's just the thing I worry about is that it's going to start getting harder to have parity through the league, and trying to make sure that we can keep good parity, year over year. Because even I think if you look at like what happened in this season of VRL, there were 3 teams which I felt were kind of faster than everybody else for the most part.
Yeah.
And those were ESC on Fire, Invasion of Privacy, and Magic Tune. Now, the thing with Magic Tune is half the team didn't show up half the time, so it didn't really matter. But if they actually did show up, you knew they were going to be one of the top teams.
Right.
And those were the 3 teams that had the leftovers. They were the top 3 finishers from the season before, so they get to keep like the top 5 pilots. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that wasn't the only reason they were the top teams, because if you look at the draft, like ESC on Fire starts getting into the draft, and it's like, oh, we're going to take Flycucks. Turns out to be awesome. They're like, you know what?
Right.
Raging Canadian, we haven't heard from him in a while, but man, that guy's awesome. He shows up, and then he kills it in VRL. Like, so the drafting was great too, but it felt like they already had the super strong team that was going to place at the top, and they were guaranteed to keep it together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, I think they got lucky with their picks. In some ways, it takes some luck to get.
Oh, for sure.
So like, they didn't pick until like the 6th round, I think, because they
they had
kept 5 pilots.
Yep.
So like, who'd have thought that, a 3rd round pick would have done worse than like a 7th round pick or whatever. So it's just like
that for sure happened. Yeah.
It's it was interesting. I like that about it, but there's no way around it really.
See, I love that aspect of it, honestly. That's where, just from my side, like I really liked how the aspect of you can keep pilots, but I almost like it where it's like, NBA style. It's like, you know what? You can only keep 3. You got to choose which 3. You're going to lose some. They go back in the draft.
We'd almost need like a salary cap, and we'd have to give, like fantasy style salary cap, which is actually like kind of interesting idea, where you'd have like $100 and you can bid on players. Like, let's say heads ups on the
too, yeah.
Heads ups on the board. How much you gonna pay for him? Like $50. Someone might pay 51.
Yep, that would be like really cool. Complicated, but really cool.
Yeah, so I mean, I've thought about doing like, it's hard if Flight One wants to pay for a team. Like, am I gonna tell them, hey, you can't have pilots who are actually flying Flight One? You gotta take this guy. You gotta draft. So it's like, I don't know. We got a couple weeks to figure it out, so definitely open to suggestions.
Yeah, I mean that's just the place where I see it going, because, I think I mentioned this to you before, but we got a local pilot here, goes by the name Mayhem. So it's Mayhem Marshall, and he just got involved in VRL with us as well. And at the end of VRL, I remember he told me that was the single best decision he ever made for his racing career, which just, speaks volumes to just how much you can get out of simulators, racing in simulators. And he's talking about the best thing he ever did to race real quads.
Yeah, man. I don't practice that much in real life. I practice, maybe once a week if I'm lucky.
That's all I
practice. So all my, it's all sim time. It's all muscle memory and then just getting that race intensity on TBS Live and just racing on the sim every night. So it works. Like, people say the sim doesn't fly like real life. Well, I don't know. I think we're proof that it's pretty damn close, and it's better than nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing I need to get back to doing is flying Velocidrone again. I haven't really flown since VRL, but I need to do that for sure. And I don't think it flies, quote unquote, like the real life quad. But I feel like if you give me your quad and I fly it, I'll say the same thing. That doesn't fly like my quad. Well, no kidding, because it's a different quad. So I view the sim as learning how to fly a different quad. It flies like a quad. It just flies a little different than my quad, but I can learn how to fly them, and it helps me to switch between quads.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's a good lead into the box frames you and I have been going back and forth on.
Yep. Yeah,
if you
absolutely.
want to talk about that.
Yeah, so I do want to talk about that, because, I mean, I think you got yours just before mine. I certainly saw your information published and what your thoughts were, but have you decided to switch over to the Southeast FPV knife box frame? Is that your main quad now?
That is my main quad right now. I have 3 of them. We're working on our own design with Falcon Multirotors right now. That's my frame sponsor, so I kind of right now I'm not flying his frames just because I flew the box frame, and it just like changed the way I flew. Like, it felt like the sim to me, like just that locked in feeling, really predictable. you can really pin the throttle on like a sweeper and it holds its line. So like I only have 3 right now, so we'll see how long that lasts at IO because I don't have spare parts and they're kind of fragile.
Have you been breaking them?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
But I practice really hard.
Yeah, see, I've been flying mine quite a bit. So I did the video a few weeks back. I took it down to like the Bradford race. That's what I flew the whole time. I only had one of them, and even at the time, I didn't have spare parts with me, and that's the only quad I flew for like 2 races. So probably kind of a dumb decision. So I ended up building a second one just because it's kind of risky to fly with one quad. I ended up breaking that one the first day I built it. Same day I built it, I broke it. But the other one's been through a whole bunch of stuff and is not broke. So they've actually been pretty durable to me, and I'm kind of curious, like, I mean, how many have you broken?
I just had that one frame for a while, and I was kind of just replacing parts on it. Like I broke the front brace, the side brace. I broke an arm, like the back right arm cracked, like where it meets the motor mount.
Yeah, when I broke it, broke the 3 of them all together. The entire motor came off. All 3 pieces broke.
I mean, I guess it's not any different than a normal frame. It's just kind of a little more involved to replace parts, but it's not that bad.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think it was that bad. When you built yours, where did you put like the ESC and stuff? Where's the stack sit?
So the stack is, let's see, it's right here. The stack's just in the middle plate, so you just take the top plate off and you can get into it like a normal quad.
Interesting. Okay, so I did mine slightly different. I put the ESC on the bottom of the mid plate, and I put the flight control on the top of the mid plate.
Okay.
So then there's like a ton of space between the mid plate and the top plate, and there's a bunch of space on the bottom too. But the reason I did that, I didn't want to put anything on the bottom plate because if I have to change an arm, I can just pop off that piece. Nothing's attached to it. Pull all the arm out and then put it back in. That's why I was curious if you attached anything to the bottom plate or not, but it doesn't look like it.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, but it's not. And before I got it, I was like, oh, it's gonna be a pain in the ass to work on, but it's really not.
Yeah, I think if I had actually attached the stack to the bottom plate, it would have been kind of a pain. And when I broke the one quote unquote arm, because it broke the braces too, I had to take 3 motors off, which was kind of annoying. But it still didn't take that long.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm like completely obsessed with it now. So it's. Yeah, I've gotten a lot better.
I'm really curious about though, because here's my biggest worry with running the box frame is that I can pick up the box frame and fly it no problem.
Yeah.
But then as soon as I put it down and pick up any of my other quads and try it, I can't fly worth a damn. It takes me like 5 batteries to figure out how to fly again.
It's a lot different for sure. Chief just wanted me to hold it up. Yeah, it's like. You got like it's probably about 5 packs. That's probably pretty accurate. Like
that's what it takes me. So if I'm like racing in a bracket or something, and my last box frame went down, I might as well call it quits for the event. Like I don't know how to do it.
So I think you either got to go. You gotta go all in on this thing. Like you got to switch all your frames to box frames, or don't fly them at all. Honestly, it's that different.
Dude, that's where I'm struggling right now because like I'm enjoying flying them, but I only got 2 and I got like 5 of the other ones. I'm just terrified. It's so weird.
Yeah, I think just these couple weeks leading up to IO, just make a decision. Like, are you gonna stick with the box, or are you gonna try to just get back into the traditional style?
See, I was hoping to make the decision at IO.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, probably. Well, we're gonna run out of quads, so it's gonna come down to whatever is working.
Yeah, gotta talk to Belmont. Like. Bring a bunch of stuff, please.
They're out of stock. I think they're sold out everywhere now. I just got a couple from Heli Nation just to have like spare parts.
I thought Heli Nation just got more in this week.
I don't know, maybe they did. I added 5 to my cart and it said there was too many, so I don't know.
Well, before you buy, now I gotta go buy some. Damn it! Like, don't buy them all.
It looks like there's some in stock.
Yeah, I think 2 days ago they got them back in.
So if you add 5, it won't let you add 5. You add 4, it won't let you add 4. 3. Okay, you can add 3. Maybe there's 3 left. So there's that. Yeah, I want to try the Cherry Craft, but it's only to order from Europe, so screw that.
Yeah, that's too much of a hassle. Plus, it's a lot more expensive, isn't it?
Yeah, so that's why we're working on Falcon Multi Rotors is working on a frame. I got a prototype that I've been testing, but we try to go too light with it, so it's flexing a little bit. So we need to thicken up the carbon and just it's they are heavier for sure. Like you're not gonna have a super light box frame, but um, I think the airfoils kind of counteract that. Would give it some lift.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of curious. Like, I definitely notice it's a bit slower than my lighter quads, which makes sense. It's 40 grams. Like, that's going to add up. But the thing that
Yeah,
I notice is I definitely notice the lift. Like, the first time I switched to a box frame, I crashed on the top of a gate because I was expecting it to, like, go down. It just doesn't go down. But it's really the cornering the side to side that seems to make a bigger difference to me than that lift. And, like, the way I try to explain it to people, and they don't really believe me that it flies that much different. Like, no, you're just flying a 40-gram heavier quad. And you think that has to do with all these box things, but I tell them it's like flying a quad with like bumpers on a bowling alley. It's weird. It doesn't let you swing wide at all. Like it won't slide like I'm used
yeah,
to, and I usually slide quads around. But it's just like it gives you a smaller window you can maneuver in, but it makes it easier. You know, I don't think it's as fast and nimble, but it's easier to be like fast and precise. You know what I mean?
yeah. No, that makes sense. I mean, some pilots like the drifting feel of a quad, and that's totally fine. Like you don't have to fly a box frame, but I like the way I fly. It feels like the sim to me. So as much time as I put in on the sim, like I want to fly a quad that feels as close to that as possible. So I've
Yeah.
been flying the what is it the what's the one on the
Carbix.
sim, the Carbix Zero? Yeah. Um, so yeah, I just posted a video earlier today on the Velocidrone community with some side by side flying the sim and the box frame in real life. So it's I don't know. I feel like I've gotten better.
Those
So that's
videos
all.
looked identical, by the way.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah, so I have not actually flown Velocidrone in the last 3 weeks since I started flying the box frame. I need to do that and see if my analysis is the same as yours, where it feels just like each other. Because it
yeah.
definitely feels a
Yeah.
lot different than my normal quads, but I haven't tried Velocidrone yet.
Yeah. Definitely. Let me know how that goes.
Yeah, I will. And I was running the box frame this past weekend at the global qualifier. So you mentioned some people saying it wasn't quite rigid enough for the one you guys were prototyping, but dude, everybody's picking up the knife and trying to like twist it. You can't twist that thing at all. It is rock solid.
Yeah, and like I think that's why it's like so smooth. Like you don't, it's so easy to tune for. Like you can turn the filtering off pretty much completely, and because there's no torsion on the arms. You know, you can't rotate them at all.
Yep.
So it's Belmont, like this is a badass design, like crazy design.
Yeah, I mean, it goes together pretty easy. The first time I did it was kind of a pain because like the arms swooped down a little bit, so it wasn't totally flat when I tried to assemble it. But
Yeah,
then once I learned that, I flipped it over, and all of a sudden it was easy. So,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
what stack are you running in yours?
I am running right now the Icon 32-bit and the Pyro FC, and then I have the new Spectrum receivers, which aren't out yet, but they have some new Spectrum receivers that are even faster than the previous ones, and TBS Unify Race I switched to. I was running a TBS Unify Nanos, but they were just a pain in the ass and had some issues with those. So I switched to the new race ones, and the video's been like way better. So I'm happy with that. MMCX switched. Went away from UFL because I kept popping them off.
Yeah, I just don't really like MMCX. I ran them for a little while, but I like those UFLs on my little stubbies. It's kind of like if there's an SMA, I don't want to deal with the MMCX. You doing both SMA and MMCX?
Yeah, yeah,
I see, but now I've started running those Synergy F4s on there, and those will pop off, and that really sucks.
yeah. The white, you talking the white noise board?
Yeah.
Yeah, I stopped using those. I don't know. I was having like some weird video noise issues on them, so I just got rid of them.
Yeah, I had three. The first two are great. Now the third one, I have video noise issues driving me nuts. I don't know what's going on. Exact
I
same
think,
build, same components, everything.
yeah, I don't know. I think it's just like everything's like too close on there, and then like if your receiver goes bad, you have to like basically rip it off the thing.
Yeah, so that's when I stopped using them before because I had a VTX fail. And I tried to like get that thing off, and I just couldn't do it without. And I killed the board trying to get it off. I'm like, screw this thing, god damn it! But the build is just so clean.
It is. It is.
And it flies so good.
Yeah. So I don't know. I have the stack here. We'll see if I can get it working. It's on my desk right now.
Yeah, I mean the other thing I thought of too with the synergy with the white noise board is if you go on that route, you almost have to take like the chief approach. I remember he explained like his old mindset with things. He used to build like the pyro boards pre-attached with the receiver and a VTX already on it, and he'd always have those stacks lined up at a race. Like if you need to swap anything out, you swap the whole damn thing. Like you don't worry about changing individual components. You can figure that stuff out later. If you use the synergy like that, you just treat it as one flight controller that happens to have an integrated VTX and receiver. Sure, one thing breaks, you swap out the whole thing. It'd be so damn fast. Just gets a little bit expensive.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I don't know. I got to figure out all my gear for IO. I'm still kind of like, I only have one quad that flies good right now, so I got some work to do.
Yeah, I'm in a similar spot, going on family vacation, and so I just placed like a big Heli Nation order. Get all sorts of stuff coming. I'm hopefully I can get it figured out, but I don't know, man. I'm just looking to fly in a whole bunch of packs. I can't wait.
There's plenty of time there to build and buy and fix stuff, so all the vendors are there, which is awesome. So like last year, I built a quad before the World Cup finals because I had like 6 hours before they got their shit together.
Yeah, man. Last year was so weird for me because I learned that I liked 2205 motors at I.O. Like I had just built one quad that was a lightweight quad that had 2205s, and everything else was like these heavier 2207 builds. And then I was flying the World Cup that first day, and then I was like, you know what, I'm going to try this 2205 build. And I destroyed my times I was getting the 2207s. I was like, oh my god, I only have one of these things. And then I hit up Big Mike with the FPV trailer, if you know him. He carries all sorts of like pyro drone stuff, and I was like, how many 2205s you have? It's like, well, I got 20 of these, like, give me them all. And I took them and I built like 3 more of those quads at I.O. And then I ran those the whole event. So definitely nice luxury to have having guys like that there.
Yeah, I might be running 5S for the World Cup track. We'll see.
So that's the 5S. New hype. So why are you running 5S?
5S 2150 kV, just so I can finish like a 2-minute race, basically.
So are you worried about 2-minute races? You think that'll happen?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's gonna happen.
So what do you mean? You think the course will be so big that to do 3 laps, it'll take like almost 2 minutes?
Oh, I mean, I don't know. Did they say that it's gonna be 3-lap racing?
I mean,
I figured it'd be 2 minutes.
It'll be the 2 minutes, but it'll be your fastest 3 qualifying.
Right. Yeah.
So you shouldn't have to do 2 minutes.
I don't know. The track last year was huge.
And that's what worries me. They do another one that big, like.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to fly for
3 laps.
Wow, what were the lap times? Like, I don't even remember. It was like
my fastest lap I think was like 29.0. But yeah, I mean the lap times were like in order to make it to the World Cup top 64, I think you had to be around like 38 to 40 seconds a lap.
Yeah, so that was like, you do your first lap warm. You pretty much had to send it on the first lap if you wanted to get a good 3-lap time.
Yeah, for most guys. That's why I like my 2205s. I can actually take it easy on the first lap and send it the next 3, but most guys couldn't do that.
I mean, I like the way the 5S flew. So I have 6S with a throttle limit and then 5S with no throttle limit. And you can actually, in beta flight now, you can set up it'll pick up on the voltage and it'll set a profile specific for that voltage, I guess.
Yeah,
so I need to figure that out.
That's a really cool feature.
Yeah. So, yeah, I'm excited. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, dude. So I actually thought like 2150 was going to be the future of like, or the thing to do this year for KV. Exactly what you're saying, like 5S to make 2 minutes, and then doing 6S with the throttle limit to have a little bit more speed, or remove a little bit, maybe do it 90% instead of 80% or whatever to get a little bit more speed when you need it. But then I tried like 1922 kV and I still wasn't flying for 2 minutes with a 5S. I was like, what's even the point? I don't know. But I'm curious, what 5S batteries are you using?
So China Hobbyline 1305S, probably what I'm gonna run. And then for 6S,
so I'll probably run. What was the mile? I missed it on the 5S.
1300.
Okay. What are you using on the 6S?
I'll probably run 1300. I usually have 1250s, but I'm thinking I'm gonna switch to 1300. Just I might even try to get like 1500 Mach 5S if they make them. I don't even know if they make them, but I don't know. We'll see. I was only getting like a minute flight time on my 6S quad last week, so.
Yeah, it's definitely getting rough. Like I know, talking to a lot of the guys, they really like 5S because they feel like 1350, 1450, 1550 mAh cells just work way better than 1150, 1250 mAh cells, and that's why 5S is better. So I was kind of curious if you were seeing the same thing or not.
Yeah, I don't know. So looks like China Hobbyline has like 1500 Mach 5S, so I'll probably honestly grab a few of those and bring that with me for like maybe for qualifying runs or whatever.
Yeah, I think that'd be smart, especially with your quads where you can run both setups. Figure out what works. There's 4 days. You'll figure it out.
Yeah. Yep.
All right.
We'll see.
Yeah, so I don't really have any more questions for you. Is there anything more you got for me or want to chat about, or questions from the comments, the peanut gallery?
I didn't see any question. Oh, thick horizontal bars in video. No, you don't see the bars in the video, Seth. I just saw that comment.
Oh, talking about the box frame?
Yeah.
Oh, Seth, man. I thought he'd at least watch some of our videos.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm gonna go get some food here in a little bit.
Awesome, man.
Try to find some 5S batteries.
Yeah, man, do that. Well, I really appreciate you coming on and chat with me. Hopefully, people find it helpful and enjoy their little chat. And definitely looking forward to seeing you at I/O. Can't wait to race with you in person. And thanks for all that you do in VRL. We're really, really, really lucky to have you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, well, thanks for showing up.
All right, man.
We'll do it without you guys.
All right, thanks. Bye.
All right. Bye, guys.